So she looks a little sad right now, like we stepped 6 months back in time, but I am extremely excited because all the missing pieces right now are fitted and over at our body shop, ready to start getting primer and all the body work done on them. So like everything else, I have a few little pieces that I need to button up where this inner fender attaches to the firewall here. I need to get that all cleaned up. The holes where the fenders mount to the cab, get those cleaned up and in the right spot. They're all marked where they need to be for our perfect alignment that we had before it came apart. So that is fantastic. Once that's done, we can start attaching all of these giant clumps of wiring. That's the pigtail for the ECU. I plan on mounting that on the outside of the inner fender there. And then also running all of the pumps and everything for the supercharger on the outside of the inner fender on this side. So we will get all of that stuff done. We can start running hoses, get those all fitted, and Amy can start running in here and telling me where to drill holes for her wiring. This looks like a huge mess right now, but we are slowly starting to lay out the stock wiring harness from Ford Performance. This is the group coming through from the engine compartment. This is just a makeshift grommet for now. We'll get a nice one or a split one that gets glued there. And then this hole will get a panel over the top of it. I just didn't want to run a split through the side and make this inner fender weak. So that inside curve right there behind the cylinder head is kind of hidden. So if I have a nice panel in there that screws on that's painted to match, it won't even be noticeable. So now I'm starting to run this harness here, which runs to the power distribution block, which is normally mounted up in the engine bay, but we do not want to put anything on the firewall or anything. So with the large connectors that have to come through, see those things are, 2 by 3 inch connectors, and all of these wires, and the box being the size it is, when we did the Nova, I built a panel that went over everything because we had his brake reservoir and everything running up underneath the dash in that one. So I'm going to do something similar on here. We will make a panel that will have all the grommets in it, and then all the AC lines and wiring will all run through those, and that panel will have nice grommets on it, and it'll work really sweet. So right now I just want to figure out how we're going to route this so that this looks kind of clean. It's really hard to do when you're dealing with stock harnesses that are already all wrapped and everything. Some of this stuff might get unwrapped and redone, but right now I just want to make sure that we have all the fasteners. So we'll do little studs here so that we can bolt this wiring in and strap it in nice and tight, and it'll be protected from coming loose in the tires and everything. And then once we get that fastened up in here where we want it and into our little makeshift panel, then I'll go inside and figure out what the best place will be to mount that power distribution block inside. So that is the beginning, guys. I got the ECU mounted with its bolts and some rubber grommets to keep it isolated. It fits and tucks in really nice behind the headlight. It'll be good and protected, nice and cool. And then once we get all of this stuff in, I might make a cover panel for all of this just to keep the weather and dirt and stuff that flings off the tires from getting up into any of these connectors. They should be really nice, tight, weather-proof connectors and everything, but there is a lot of wire and stuff showing, so I'd like to keep that stuff as clean as possible when this thing is going down the road. we have been moving along here. I printed out a little cover, well not little, but a cover to go over all of the plugs and everything that go into the ECU. I still have to make that metal plate to go and cover up that piece on the inner fender, but I got those all mounted, strapped up. I've got some nice straps to hold all the wires up tight on the inner fender. And then that yellow wire there is a switched positive that we can use for our air ride, and the blue is the starter cable. Those will get wrapped and terminated and run where they need to go, but I have all the holes for them already, so that we can deal with once everything's painted and it's going together for final fitment. And then those last two plugs, flat plugs up top, are O2 sensors. We need a 2-foot and a 4-foot extension for those, so we're going to either get those made or find a place to source and get those. And then down there, that big boy goes to the transmission. So that covers up all of that stuff. The main power distribution block is now mounted on the firewall under the heater, and I made it so that it faces down so you can get the cover off of it, look up, see everything that's in it, get to everything. It's perfect. And then this 10 and 6 are the AC lines. So once the AC fittings show up, I'll finish getting this stuff bent, put together, and then we'll do a bulkhead fitting here for the AC lines so they can be unscrewed and taken off of the inner fender in one piece, and some grommets for the other wires. And we'll get a nice cover made for that with all that grommet and bulkhead and everything in it. So yeah, she is coming along there. This duty cover is done. I have one bolt that actually holds it on towards the back there, that one Allen. Everything else fits super tight, snug, just kind of snaps in place, but it would be impossible for it to come off or come loose up front with the oil cap and the breather in place. On the back side, I drilled out and tapped the top of 2 of the coil bolts and put some 1/4 20, or actually I think that's, what is that, 832? Not sure. Threaded rod coming out of there to extend it. Drilled some holes in the covers. Made sure they were all in the right spot. So those are all drilled out. And then I took a couple of spacers. Could have used a washer, but I didn't have one, so I welded a piece of steel on the back, drilled a hole in it, and then these will drop down in these holes, and then we can put a recessed nut or acorn nut or something down in there so that we won't have a big bolt or something sticking out up above on these covers. So that'll be nice. We can either cover it or just leave them open, doesn't matter. But yeah, so I'm gonna get those done, welded in place, and then I can start dealing with this pump and everything for the supercharger. Got all the plumbing figured out now, just waiting on a few fittings. We've got the first heater hose comes out of a quick clip out of here, right down into a straight 90 bulkhead that's going to go on the inside of the firewall. A quick disconnect, I mean. Come around to this side. This hose has a quick disconnect down on the water pump, comes back up. Nice fitted hose comes around the corner. That will go into a 90 back on the firewall back there onto the inside. And once it gets inside, there will be a shut-off valve before it goes to the heater that also has an H pipe in it, so it keeps the circulation flowing even when the heater is off. And then all of this will be wrapped in some really nice braided wrap to look nice. This fitting here coming out the end of this will go up into the steam port in the top of the radiator. We're going to find a nice way to route that. We've already have the radiator hoses that came with the Ford Performance package. Those will fit right in, no problem. So we move on to the intercooler. We've got in, out on both sides. The one loop will come through. There'll be a bulkhead fitting on both sides of the inner fender, so it'll come out, go behind this, through that hole down there into a hole in the inner fender, come across, and then there'll be a T here where it 90s into the top of the intercooler. Then the other one will come out, go through the inner fender, through a hole in here, back to another bulkhead fitting, back up in there. Then the other one will come out through the bulkhead, come around the corner, through the inner fender, all the way across, through the inner fender again, through this hole, into this T. The other side of the T will come out, go through the bulkhead fitting, up into there. So we'll just have two real nice hoses on both sides coming out that'll be wrapped and look real pretty. That's all you'll see in the engine compartment. The bottom side of this T drops down into this reservoir that we have printed up. That drops down into the pump, and then that will kick back out, go through that hole into the bottom of the intercooler. So that should keep all of that going. Then we have one last hose that comes out of here, goes through the inner fender, and that will come up here to a nice aluminum tank with a drain on the bottom and a nice little pressure cap on the top. And we can use that for our vapor and for our filling of the unit and getting everything purged and ready. The other side of the tank of here, of the radiator, will have the same size aluminum tank on it. That will just be an overflow for the radiator, so that'll come off of this fitting to the bottom, drain down to a drain tube to the ground. Same thing on here, drain tube out down to the ground in case there's any overheating, extra fluid, whatever that needs to come out. So that handles all of that plumbing. The AC lines, we've got one line here that will come out. That's our number 8 line. That will get a bend in it right here, come back through, go to a rubber hose, drop down through here. And we're gonna open this up a little bit where that little marker line is. We'll go straight into our compressor. Then it'll come out of the compressor, go to a nice hard line along here, into a bulkhead fitting on the firewall inner fender area here, and into the box for the heat and AC. Then the other line will come out, hard line all the way nice long across here, and plop into that fitting there. So that pretty much handles everything as far as that goes. I need to print up a couple more pieces just for the venting underneath the dash, and I will deal with that once this comes apart, because I can do that with the cab off, because I got to pull the heater box out and everything, make sure those all fit correctly. But that will make sure that we have a really nice fitting layout of all of our hoses, vent tubing, all of that up underneath the dash. While I'm waiting for fittings and everything to show up so I can finish up the plumbing and wiring mock-up in the 48, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting some of these parts primed. I got this thing completely blown off. We're gonna wipe it down with some wax and grease remover. Get a good coat of KBS high build direct to metal primer on all of this, as well as this entire stack of stuff out here. So that way we don't have to worry about any of this stuff getting covered in surface rust before we get started on the body work. So booth is clean, off we go. We are not looking for perfect right now, but this looks absolutely beautiful for never seeing it all in one color. You know, just simply doing that makes a huge difference with these things. But this is just to get everything, all the metal all sealed up and everything, so we don't have to worry about any surface rust. Now is when the real work begins. We're gonna have to start putting filler down, sanding, smoothing everything out, getting rid of any little pinch weld bump, all of that on the inside, outside of the bed. Then we'll go around the whole thing with seam sealer, get everything sealed up, looking nice, especially in this inner trunk area right here. And at that point, this will be ready for sealer and paint. So let's get this one out and start bringing the other stuff in. Here's the box all in primer. I've got her kind of kicked up on the side, ready to go. We need to deal with all of these little pinch welds, get all of that stuff smoothed out, make sure there's a nice straight line on this interior cover piece, and round out the inner fenders, just get everything looking nice and pretty. So I am going to hit it all with some 220 just to knock any of the rough spots off from the primer, and we're going to start slinging some filler on this thing. Box is now out of the booth from its second round of primer. All of the body work is done. Getting it all blocked out with 320 and perfect. And then Amy is going to run around and hit all the little pinholes that she can find. Get this thing seam sealed, and this will be ready for paint. And we've got a good start on the running boards and a bunch of the other parts. So we're just going to keep on sanding around here, and we will let you know when something cool happens. crannies and getting all the wood flattened out because we don't want any